Hello, this video is for Stat 310 Handout 9 Part C, and we'll cover pages 19 through 27. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. So the data set that we're going to be using for Part C is the product sales data set. That is available in the Google folder for Handout number 9. Okay, so Handout 9 Part C, in this example, we are not going to have a significant interaction term. So that is going to have an effect on how we do our multiple comparisons. And it's also going to have an effect on the fact that we're going to need to consider what's called main effects. Okay, so the setup of this example is, suppose we have a large retail corporation that is investigating the use of coupons. The study has two factors in it: the delivery method of the coupons, which is either going to be email, postcards, or social media. And then the other factor is the type of product that was targeted on that coupon. So was that an essential item or a non-essential item? So essential items would be things like soap or toothpaste or food. And non-essential items might be something like a new light or a curtain or something. The response here is going to be the amount of total sales for the targeted product over the lifetime of the coupon. And we're going to use 10 store locations. So I'm going to have 10 replicates in this study. So here's what the data looks like. And this is in thousands of dollars. So this 2.65 would be about $2,600. So just did some scaling there on the numbers. So for this particular store, or that particular amount of sales, that came from an emailed coupon, a coupon that was emailed, and it was for an essential item. So these would be the total amount of sales over the lifetime of that coupon for the 10 stores, with that combination. Likewise, this group over here would be for the 10 stores when the coupon was picked up via social media, and it was for non-essential items. Okay, so let's think a little about the statistical model. The statistical model is going to have the following form here. I have an overall effect. I have an effect due to the coupon type. So again, that's simply going to be email, postcard, or social media. So I'm going to have 3 alphas in the model. A couple of thetas, essential item or non-essential item. So theta is going to identify the product group. And then I have the interaction term between those two. And then the last item here is just the residual, which I'm going to have 10 of those for each of these combinations because I have 10 replicates in the study. So a little bit on the descriptive summaries. We can just compute the averages if we wanted for each of those combinations. Over here on the right, I have that plotted out. We can see that the email tends to actually give us the highest amount of sales. Okay, so around $2,800 here. The postcard, there looks like there's no effect at all there. Postcard, or excuse me, there's no effect between the product group when a postcard is used. Postcards tend to be lower use than email here. We can see a decrease there. And then there's not much difference between postcard and social media neither. So email appears to have the highest sales, and the effect of the product group is kind of mixed here. You can see that over here for email, essential is a little bit higher, but over here at social media, the non-essential is a little bit higher. So let's talk about the overall test. Again, I will maybe jump over here into our software jump and just show you how to get that output. So I'm going to select Analyze, Fit Model. I'm going to put sales here as my response. I need coupon type here. I need product group down here. And then I need the combination or the cross product of those as well. So hold the control button down, select both, and just say cross. That'll be the interaction term. Click OK. We're going to get lots of output here. The stuff that we're going to start with is the analysis of variance. I also got output underneath the effect tests that I'm going to consider. And then over here on the right, I got all of my LS means that I'm going to be looking at. Okay, so that's all of the output, which we get lots of it. So let's start with the overall test. The overall test is underneath the analysis of variance section. The p-value is right down here, prob bigger than f. That is quite small, less than 0.0001. So we are able to say that we have some effect due to either the coupon type or the product group, or potentially the combination of those two. The test for interaction, we do that underneath the effect tests. When we're doing our test for interaction, we definitely want to start at the bottom and move up. So we don't want to be looking at these effects if I have interaction present. So here's in words what that test is doing. It's trying to determine whether or not the effect of coupon type depends on the product group. Now we can see in this example that most of those arrows are very small, especially compared to our example that we were looking at in Part A. So this does not meet the 0.05 threshold. So we do not have enough evidence to say that the coupon type depends on the project group. Now you might say that the essential over here on email was bigger than on the email setting, but the non-essential was bigger over here. Okay, so these aren't necessarily exactly parallel to one another, but the arrows are so small that I'm not able to pick up that effect. So I do not have an interaction term here. So what that means is that I can now go up and consider what we call the main effects. So what is the effect of coupon type? And what is the effect of the product group? So the test for interaction is not significant. So we can progress on to an investigation of these other effects separately. And that's what we call the main effects. And again, this is underneath the effect tests. So now after I've learned that the interaction is not significant, I can go up and consider these other tests. Test A is going to be testing the effect of coupon type, and test B, as I've labeled here, is going to be testing the effect of product group. Coupon type is denoted by the alphas here, so I'm testing whether or not all of the alphas are equal to 0 versus I have some effect going on. This p-value here is less than 0.05. So p-value A is less than 0.05. So that means I do have enough evidence to say that there's some effect due to the coupon type. And again, we're talking about the effect being on the amount of sales. Product group is not a significant effect. So here the p-value for test B is 0.3539. So we do not have enough statistical evidence to say that there's an effect due to product group. Now I can gain an understanding of that by considering what's going on in my plot of the 6 averages. So the blue line and the red line are pretty close to one another. So what that is saying is that I don't really have a product group effect. I do have a substantial difference between sales at email compared to postcard and social media. There's quite a bit of a drop off here in sales. So I do have an effect due to the coupon type, because I have a big drop there or a big change. I do not have an effect due to product group, again, because this red and blue line are pretty much the same. So the only thing that really seems to have an impact is the coupon type that they're sent. So when I'm doing my multiple comparisons now, so the next step is moving on to multiple comparisons. They only need to be done for the coupon type, because that was the only significant factor. So from my coupon type drop-down menu, I want to be selecting my LS means. I could do my plot. I could do my Tukey HSD. Okay, so I'm only doing that under coupon type here. So let me go back here and show you in Jump. I have coupon type, product group, and the interaction here. Well, the interaction was not significant, so I don't need to worry about anything in there. The product group was not significant as well. So I can minimize that because I don't have to worry about either one of those effects. The only one that I need to worry about is coupon type. So here I want to select Tukey's HSD. That's going to give me my differences matrix. It's going to give me my connected letters report. I can specify that I want the order difference report. We'll be looking at that later. And also I could just get an LS means plot as well. And again, I usually take those confidence limits off. I only have one line here because I am not taking into consideration the effect of the product type, because I don't really have differences between those. So I can kind of average the effect of the product group for at email, at postcard, and at social media. So here I only have one line because I'm averaging out the effect due to product type, because that was not a significant term. Okay, the only ones that I need to look at are the ones in red, and I have 2 of them in red. I have 3 comparisons here. 2 of them are in red. And that is between email and postcard and email and social media. So I have differences between email and postcard and email and social media. I can also pick that up by my connected letters report. I can see that postcard has a different letter than email, and social media has a different letter than email. So those are going to be different from one another. However, social media and postcard are not different from one another. The order difference report just, again, talks about how different they are. So I get a lower and upper confidence interval here. And this is the difference in sales between these 2 coupon types. So I have discussed that in the table here on page 24. So when I look at email versus postcard, that test number 1 there, the p-value does say I have differences between those. So when I'm looking at email average sales compared to postcard, are those different than one another? Yes, they are. You can see that big drop off there. And the 95% confidence interval here is going to tell me how much of a difference I have in sales between those 2 coupon types. It's between 0.59K and 1.05, I guess, K. So that'd be about, this would be about $1,000. That's about $600. So if I use email, I can expect sales to go up anywhere from about $600 up to $1,000. I also have differences between email and social media. So I would be comparing this one here over to this one. Those are going to be significant as well. But the comparison here between postcard and social media, you can see that that line is basically flat there, so that does not have any effect. So that interval there is going to capture 0, which it does. It's almost exactly centered on 0, which means that there's very little effect or no effect. P-value is very, very large there. Okay, just a little bit about how these least square means are computed. So when I do my differencing, or excuse me, when I do my connected letters report, you can see that I get LS means, okay, or least square means. Now those things are computed from our statistical model. So the intercept, I'm looking underneath parameter estimates here. The intercept is 2.324, which is that's kind of my baseline amount of sales across everything, all the different coupon types and all the different essential items. About $2,300 is my typical sales over the lifetime of that coupon. The effect of email is going to be positive because email increased things. So that parameter right there we'll call alpha 1. And then I got alpha 2. And then alpha 3, which is missing here, but we know that that is just the negation of alpha 1 plus alpha 2. Recall that the alphas, all of the effects need to sum to 0. So even that, though that other one is not here, I can estimate what that quantity is. Or you could ask for the expanded estimates, and that will be provided there as well. So if I want to get the least square means for email, which was my first group, what I need to do is just take the overall effect plus the effect for email, which is going to be 2.324 plus 0.538. And when I do that math, I get the 2.862. And that's exactly what JUMP is reporting here by the least square means. So the least square means are actually just plugging in what those parameter estimates are in that model. For postcard, I'm going to have to drop down a little bit from the overall effect. So I get 2.04 there. And social media is just up a little bit from that. So social media just jumped up a little bit compared to the postcard. We could do one contrast. So when I was looking at this plot initially, I noticed that I do have a little bit of a difference here, over here on the right side. So if I was just worried about the social media coupons, so if I wanted to just isolate in on this comparison right here, I would want to use a contrast to do that. So that's what I did here with the contrast statement on page 26. Is just looking at social media, can I say that I get more sales in the non-essential group than the essential group? Or is there a difference in sales? This is a two-sided test, so I guess is there a difference in sales between those? So is there a product group effect when I'm using the social media coupon? That's a pretty specific test. I don't care about any of the other combinations, just that specific test. And if I wanted to do that, I would need to select the LS means contrast. Now I'm doing this on social media product group essential against social media product group non-essential. So I need to actually use the LS mean contrast under the interaction term here. So going back over into jump, I need to select the one for the interaction if I want that contrast. LS mean contrast. It's not going to allow me to do those contrasts underneath coupon type because here all I would be doing is comparing the coupon type email, social media to postcard. I can't do the combinations. And this contrast is actually using the combinations of social media and product group. So I need one of those to be the +1 and one of those to be the negative. It doesn't actually matter here. So I got a +1 here and a -1 here. Say done, and I get the p-value out from this test. This p-value is less than 0.05, so I can say that I have a difference or product group has an effect when I'm looking at the social media coupons. So if I wanted to zero in and only look at the social media coupons, I can see that I have a difference there in sales between the product groups, with the non-essential items being slightly higher. So sales increased a little bit for non-essential items when I'm using a social media coupon. Those contrasts, again, are kind of nice if you're interested in specific aspects of your study. Checking the assumptions, kind of our standard thing to do here is just to make sure that everything is okay. Here's my residual plot and also my normal quantile plot, and those both look okay. The reason I have a big gap here in my residual plot is just because the email tended to increase the sales quite a bit. Okay, so these two settings up here are for email, non-essential, and essential. And the other four are down here. So when I'm looking at outliers, don't worry about outliers in the horizontal direction. We're looking for outliers in the vertical direction, which I don't have any here, so we're good. Okay, final thoughts. Just putting all of this together. The overall test suggested that we had some effect due to the coupon type and or the product group. So again, that overall test just takes a very high view of what's going on in the study. The test for interaction was not significant. So that was different here. So then we needed to go look at the main effects for coupon type and the main effect for product group. And I can do those separately. The main effect for coupon type was significant. However, the main effect for product group was not. So I did not need to worry about whether or not it was an essential item or a non-essential item on that coupon. All that mattered was how did they get their coupon. My multiple comparisons, what I learned from that is that email was my best coupon. If I want to maximize average sales, then I should promote email coupons. Those perform better than postcard and social media. Finally, in the custom test, if I'm only looking at the social media way or method of getting coupons, I learned that the non-essential items tended to have slightly larger average sales than the essential items. Okay, that does it for this handout. Thank you.